Imagine waking up to a headline that feels completely upside down. U.S. company orders 20 Chinese jets worth $2.2 billion. That's right. GE Capital Aviation Services, one of the world's top aircraft leasing firms based in the U.S., just placed a massive order for China's homegrown C919 passenger jet. And this isn't a small bet. We're talking about 20 planes worth over $2.2 billion. Wait a second. Why would a leading American company skip over Boeing and Airbus, two global aviation giants with decades of trust, and instead go for a relatively untested Chinese jet? It's like walking into a car dealership and ignoring Toyota and Ford, just to drive off with a brand new model from a manufacturer nobody expected to compete. This move caught everyone off guard, and it raises a big question. What does GE know that the rest of the world is just waking up to? That's the story we're about to unpack. And by the end, you'll see why this isn't just about one deal, but a turning point in global aviation. For over 100 years, the skies have been ruled by just two names, Boeing and Airbus. Think of them like the Coca-Cola and Pepsi of the aviation world. Fierce rivals, but totally dominant. If you've ever flown on a commercial jet, chances are high it was built by one of them. Airlines trust them. Pilots train on them. Airports are designed around them. In short, Boeing and Airbus are everywhere. So when China said it wanted to build its own large commercial jet, the C919, most of the industry laughed. Not because China lacked ambition, but because building a modern passenger aircraft is one of the hardest engineering challenges on Earth. You need next-level precision, decades of testing, international safety certifications, global supply chains, and a flawless safety record. It's not like building a phone or a car. This is aerospace. Failure isn't just embarrassing, it's fatal, but China didn't back down. Slowly, quietly, the C919 took shape. It wasn't flashy at first. Early test models were clunky. Critics called it a copycat. Some even said it would never fly internationally. Yet here we are, just a few years later, and not only has the C919 been certified, it's flying commercial routes and landing international orders. What started as a long shot is now a real competitor, and that's what makes the story so dramatic. A challenger has entered the ring. In the early days, hardly anyone believed China could build a commercial jet that could compete with Boeing or Airbus. Why? Because making a modern airliner isn't just about sticking wings on a tube. It's about mastering thousands of components, meeting brutal safety standards, and earning global trust. Trust that can take decades to build, and a single mistake to lose. When China's aviation giant M.A.X.I announced the C919 project back in 2008, many aviation experts scoffed. They said China doesn't have the experience. They don't have international certification. The jet will never be allowed to fly in the West. And to be fair, those critics weren't wrong, at least not then. M.A.X.I struggled with delays, regulatory red tape, and technology gaps. The first prototype didn't take off until 2017, nearly a decade after development began. And even then, it had to pass years of flight tests to prove it could handle the rigors of real-world commercial service. But this is where the story changes. Instead of giving up or rushing an unready jet to market, China played the long game. M.A.X.I kept improving the aircraft, engineers refined the design, upgraded the software, and worked closely with regulators. And finally, after thousands of test hours and intense scrutiny, the C919 earned its certification from China's Civil Aviation Authority. Was it certified in the US or Europe yet? Not yet. But it was enough to start flying real passengers and attract serious attention. What this shows is powerful. The C919 isn't just a flashy government project, it's the result of years of grit, iteration, and engineering hustle. And now, with orders stacking up, the jet that no one believed in is proving the world wrong. So the C919 finally took off, literally and figuratively. But the big question remained, who would actually buy it? At first, most assumed it would just stay within China. Local airlines like China Eastern were expected to place a few orders, more out of national pride than actual need. But then something unexpected happened. The international orders started rolling in. Airlines and lessors from places like Thailand, Brunei, and even Germany began placing inquiries and signing letters of intent. These weren't just symbolic gestures. They were market signals. The message was clear. the aviation world was taking a second look. Then came the headline that truly turned heads. Over 1,200 orders from 36 different customers. That's not curiosity, that's demand. But the biggest shock? A $2.2 billion order from GE Capital Aviation Services, M.A.X.I, a US-based company, one of the largest aircraft leasing firms in the world. That's right, a major American firm, one that typically leases out Boeings and Airbuses, committed to 20 of China's C919 jets. This wasn't a goodwill gesture. It wasn't about politics. It was about business. When a seasoned industry player like M.A.X.I puts that kind of money on the line, you know something real is happening. They weren't buying dreams. They were buying jets they believe can fly, perform, and make money. So now the C919 isn't just a Chinese project. It's becoming a global player. And that brings us to the big question everyone's asking. Why did GE choose the C919 over Boeing or Airbus? So why would GE Capital Aviation Services, a company with decades of experience in leasing aircraft, take a $2.2 billion chance on China's rookie jet? It comes down to one powerful factor: value. Let's break it down. The Boeing 737 MAX comes with a price tag of around $121 million per aircraft. The Airbus A320neo isn't much cheaper, about $110 million. Now enter the C919, just $99 million per plane. That's a 20% discount compared to its Western competitors. Multiply that over 20 jets, and M.A.X.I is saving over $200 million. Enough to fund the expansion of an entire airline in a small market. But it's not just about the sticker price. The C919 also delivers on what airlines care about most: efficiency. It's powered by LEAP-1C engines, the same advanced engine family used by the 737 MAX and A320neo. That means similar fuel burn, lower emissions, and competitive range, up to 5,555 kilometers on a full tank. And maintenance? With fewer moving parts and modular systems designed for quicker repairs, the C919 promises lower upkeep costs over the aircraft's life cycle. From a business perspective, it's simple. The math works. GE isn't making this move because of geopolitics or goodwill. They're betting on the numbers: cost, efficiency, profitability. In a post-pandemic aviation world where every dollar counts and margins are razor-thin, a cheaper plane that performs just as well is no longer a gamble. It's a strategic edge. For decades, Boeing was the gold standard in aviation, the go-to name for safety, reliability, and cutting-edge engineering. But in recent years, that reputation has taken some serious hits. The biggest blow? The 737 MAX crisis. In 2018 and 2019, two fatal crashes involving the 737 MAX killed 346 people. Investigations revealed flaws in the aircraft's software system, something that could have been prevented. The result was devastating: a global grounding of the 737 MAX for nearly 2 years, lawsuits, executive resignations, and a public relations disaster that shook trust in Boeing to its core. Even after the plane was cleared to fly again, airlines and leasing companies became hesitant. Regulators were stricter, public confidence dipped, and production delays didn't help. Boeing struggled with supply chain issues, missed deadlines, and had to temporarily halt deliveries of some aircraft models due to manufacturing defects. All of this created a trust gap. Meanwhile, China was moving in the opposite direction. While Boeing was dealing with crisis after crisis, the C919 was quietly proving itself. It completed flight tests, passed rigorous safety standards, and began winning over airlines with its solid performance and lower costs. So for companies like M.A.X.I, the decision wasn't just about price. It was also about reliability and perception. If one company is under scrutiny and facing delays, and another is offering a fresh, fully certified alternative that checks all the right boxes, why not explore the new option? This isn't just a story of China rising. It's also about a Western giant stumbling at the worst possible time, which raises a much bigger question. Is this the start of a shift in the balance of power in global aviation? Let's explore that next. For over 100 years, the skies have been ruled by two names: Boeing and Airbus. Together, they hold over 90% of the global market for large passenger jets. It's been a tight two-horse race, like Apple and Samsung dominating smartphones or Coke and Pepsi in soft drinks. But now, a third contender is stepping in. And it's not just another company, it's an entire nation, China. The C919 isn't just about building a jet, it's part of a long-term national strategy. China wants to reduce its dependence on Western aerospace technology and eventually lead. They've been importing Boeings and Airbuses for decades, spending tens of billions of dollars on foreign-made aircraft. Now they want to reverse the flow, but here's the twist. Even though China is competing, it's also collaborating. Take the C919's engine. It's made by CFM International, a joint venture between General Electric in the United States and Safran in France. So while China is building the aircraft, US companies are still profiting by supplying key components. This means China's rise doesn't necessarily mean a loss for everyone else, at least not yet. In fact, the aviation world might become more interconnected, with global players working together in new ways. Still, the question remains, can China really break the Boeing Airbus duopoly? The answer is, not overnight. But they've planted the seed. With over 1,200 orders, growing international interest, and a government willing to invest billions into aviation, the C919 has made it clear the game is changing. And as more countries diversify their fleets, we could be witnessing the beginning of a three-way race in the skies. Now, let's bring it all together. Whether you see it as a brilliant business decision or a bold geopolitical move, one thing is certain. China's aviation game just leveled up. The C919 isn't just another airplane. It's a symbol of ambition, innovation, and disruption. It's shaking up a global industry that's been stable, almost stagnant, for decades. And it's forcing even the biggest players to pay attention. So now the big question is for you, can China really compete with Boeing and Airbus in the long run? Is this just a smart low-cost play, or the start of a global aviation shift? We want to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Debate it. Challenge it. Let's talk about it. And if you found this story surprising, or if it made you think differently about global power, industry, or the future of flying, do us a quick favor. Hit like so more people see it, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and share it with someone who still thinks Boeing and Airbus are untouchable. Because the world is changing fast, and in aviation, as in life, nothing stays in the air forever. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.